Welcome, children, to English class. Here I am going to proceed for the next part of the chapter 3rd, Ranga's marriage, from your snapshot book. Let's start the chapter. Before here I start, I want to throw light on the previous part of the story. In the previous part, you've come to know the narrator has given the explanation why he has given such a simple title to his story. He wanted the title of the story should portray what actually happened in his village. This was the incident about the Ranga's marriage, who was the son of the village accountant. Thus, narrator has given very glowingly the description of his village, that is the part of Mysore in Karnataka. Then he had praised the two special things of his village. First was the raw mangoes, and another was about the creepers of his village pond. Now let's proceed in the next part and know what would happen in the story. What I am going to tell you is something that happened 10 years ago. We did not have many people who knew English then. Our village accountant was the first one who had enough courage to send his son to Bangalore to study. It's different now. There are many who know English. Here in this part of the story, the narrator is bringing the comparison between the things and the habits of the present time people with the people of 10 years ago time. He said that 10 years ago there were very less people who were knowing or speaking English language. Even there were very few people who did and showed the courage to send their children to the big cities for getting the higher education. But the village accountant had that much courage to send his son to Bangalore for the higher studies. It's different now. There are many who know English during the holidays. You come across them on every street talking in English. Those days we didn't speak in English, nor did we bring in English words while talking in the Kannada. But in the present time, the narrator said the things had been changed. Now, if you visit our village, you could find on every street the people were well versed with the English language. You can find them talking in every street. But in the back days, there were very rare people who knew how to speak in English language, nor did they have any knowledge about the English words. And all of them, they used to like to talk only in the regional Kannada language. What has happened is disgraceful. Believe me, the other day I was in Ramarao's house when they bought a bundle of firewood. Ramarao's son came out to pay for it. He asked the woman, "How much should I give you?" "4 pies," she said. The boy told her he did not have any change and asked her to come the next morning. Disgraceful, that means insulting. However, the narrator first appreciated the people of the older times who were feeling proud and using commonly their own regional language. But now, whatever changes had come had been quite embarrassing and insulting for their own language people. He, however, justifies his claim by sharing one incident of his village. He said that one day when he was at his friend Ramarao's house, there was called the bundle of firewood from an old lady. Then the son of his friend was sent to collect the bundle of the firewood and make the payment to the lady. But when he asked from the lady about the price of a labor, she replied it was just 4 paise. The poor woman did not understand the English word change and went away, muttering to herself, I too did not know. Later, when I went to Ranga's house and asked him, I understood what it meant. Muttered, that means to complain in the lower voice. As the boy did not have any change, so he had called the old lady to collect the labor charge for the next morning. But the old lady got angry as she was not knowing the meaning of the English word change. So she went away complaining in her mind in the lower voice why the boy was not making the payment. But the narrator here remarked even he himself was not aware about the real meaning of this English word. It was only when he visited Ranga's house he asked the boy its meaning. Then he came to know the exact meaning of the English word change. This priceless commodity, the English language, was not so widespread in our village a decade ago. That was why Ranga's homecoming was a great event. People rushed to his doorstep announcing the accountant's son has come. The boy who had gone to Bangalore for his studies is here, it seems. And come, Ranga is here. Let's go and have a look. Priceless commodity, that means valuable thing. Widespread, that means well known. Decade, that is a period of longer time. Once again, here the narrator commented about making the English language to be so much precious and making this language to be such a valuable commodity in our society. He said it is insulting that we are now ignoring our language and emphasizing on the use of this language. But the things were not so 10 years ago. That was the reason when Ranga, the accountant's son, had returned from Bangalore after completing his higher education. It became the event of celebration for the villagers. They all got excited and rushed towards his house. They wanted to have a single look of the boy who had just returned after getting the refined learning from the big city of Bangalore. Attracted by the crowd, I too went and stood in the courtyard and asked, why have all these people come? There is no performing monkey here. A boy, a fellow without any brains, said loud enough for everyone to hear. What are you doing here then? A youngster, immature and without any manners, thinking that all these things were now of the past. I kept quiet. Courtyard, that means open compound attached to some house or veranda in a language that means. Hence, fascinated like the other villagers, the narrator became excited to see the boy. He followed the crowd and reached the house of the accountant. But to see the large gathering. He asked them if there was going to happen something interesting or some monkey was going to perform some show over there. On hearing such remarks by the narrator, a boy standing there without brains, he replied him back why he was standing over there. To this, the narrator could not respond. He took it very rudely. He even called the boy to be immature and thought such things of misbehaving with the elders are now becoming very common in the present time. That's why he didn't scold the boy and let it be. Seeing so many people there, Ranga came out with a smile on his face. Had we all gone inside, the place would have turned into what people call the black hole of Calcutta. Thank God it did not. Black hole. This refers to an incident that occurred in Calcutta in the year 1756 when many prisoners were confined to a small cell and they died there due to the suffocation. Here, the writer informs that all the people started waiting for Ranga outside his house because if they would enter inside, the place would look like the black hole of Calcutta if they all went inside. Here, the narrator wants to say that if this whole gathering had gone inside Ranga's house, the place would have fallen short to accommodate such a gathering there. But nothing happened so as the Ranga came out. Everyone was surprised to see that Ranga was the same as he had been 6 months ago when he had first left our village. An old lady who was near him ran her hand over his chest, looked into his eyes, and said, "The Janevara is still there. He is not lost his caste." She went away. Soon after that, Ranga laughed. Janevara means the holy thread worn by the Brahmins in Karnataka. We can also call it Jinev. Hence, the people were surprised to see the boy when he came outside, smiling over his face. There was not a bit of change even after spending 6 months long time in the big city. An old lady went to the extent of running her hands through his chest to check whether the holy thread, Janevara, was still there on his chest or not. However, she went away soon after getting the confirmation that it was still there. Then she declared the boy had not lost his caste. Now, to see their behavior, the narrator laughed at them all. Once they realized that Ranga still had the same hands, legs, eyes, and nose, the crowd melted away like a lump of sugar in a child's mouth. I continued to stand there after everyone had gone. I asked, "How are you, Rangappa? Is everything well with you?" It was only then that Ranga noticed me. He came near me and did a namaskar respectfully, saying, "I'm all right with your blessings." Melted away, that means gradually disappeared. Once the villagers were confirmed that there was no change in the boy even after moving to the city. They also disappeared as fast as a lump of sugar does in a child's mouth. They also went to the extent of checking his hands, legs, eyes, and nose. There was not a bit change in the boy. Hence, they also went away. The narrator waited till the crowd cleared and asked Ranga about his well being. Rangappa is the full name of Ranga. Now, this was the time. Ranga noticed the narrator and replied with full respect in a traditional manner and replied that he was all right as due to the crowd he could not notice the narrator's presence over there. I must draw your attention to this aspect of Ranga's character. He knew when it would be to his advantage to talk to someone and rightly assessed people's worth. Assess, that means make a judgment about the nature or quality of someone. Worth means quality. Here, the narrator draws attention towards the good mannerism and the growth of the boy Ranga. He knew how and when to give the worth to someone. He also knew what would be the right time to honor and pay respect to someone, and also he could easily analyze the worth of the other person in the right manner. As for his namaskar to me, he did not do it like any present day boy, with his head up towards the sun, standing stiff like a pole without joints, jerking his body as if it was either a wand or a walking stick. Nor did he merely fold his hands. He bent low to touch my feet. May you get married soon, I said, blessing him. After exchanging a few pleasantries, I left. Jerk, that means to have the sudden movement of the body. One means a stick. Pleasantry, that is a courteous social remarks. At this point, the narrator compared the well-mannered Ranga with the present-day ill-mannered and careless boys. He said that he did not behave and read the narrator like the present-day boys. He did not greet the narrator the way the present-day careless boy used to behave, who stood proudly straight before the elders and without touching the feet of the elders, they used to say namaskar. They used to keep their head up towards the sun. They behaved that they are not some living beings and have joints in the body. They stood just like a pole, and this way they used to jerk their body as it was some wand or the walking stick, that they are not some living being. Henceforth, the narrator praised the way of the boy. Not only he folded his hands, but also he bent lower down to touch the feet of the narrator, and thus sought the blessings of him. And thus the narrator blessed him that he might get married soon. And thus they had some courteous talks, and then they left. That afternoon, when I was resting, Ranga came to my house with a couple of oranges in his hand. A generous, considerate fellow. It would be a fine thing to have him marry, settle down, and be a service to society. I thought. Generous, that means very kind. Considerate, that means thoughtful or understanding. Here the narrator said that the same afternoon, Ranga also visited his house with few oranges in his hand. Once again, he was impressed to see the kindness and understanding nature of the boy. He thought in his mind that such a nice boy should get married soon, and he should settle down and should do the service to the society. For a while we talked about this and that. Then I came to the point. Rangappa, when do you plan to get married? I'm not going to get married now. He said, why not? Hence, for some time, both of them, they chatted and they talked about the casual things. And then the narrator came to the point and asked Ranga when he was planning to get married. To this, the boy replied that he had no intention of getting married now. To this, the narrator asked why he was not planning to get married. I need to find the right girl. I know an officer who got married only 6 months ago. He is about 30 and his wife is 25. I'm told they will be able to talk lovingly to each other. Let's say I married a very young girl. She may take my words spoken in love as words spoken in anger. However, Ranga is here commenting. However, Ranga is hereby commenting about his views on the marriage. However, Ranga is here expressing his own views about the marriage. He was against the early marriages. So he cites the example of an officer who got married at the age of 30 to a woman aged 25. He said, as in this case, both the persons are mature, so they are able to talk lovingly and understand each other. So, being mature, they could easily understand each other's actions and behavior, whereas he speaks about himself. And coming to the point, he says that if he would get married right now, then the girl would be very young and then she could not understand his words or the actions because she won't be mature enough to understand his feelings. And she could take his words spoken in love to be spoken as a anger. So there would be disputes between them. That's why he was not in the favor of getting married at the early age. Recently, a troupe in Bangalore staged the play Shakuntala. There is no question of Dushyant falling in love with Shakuntala if she were young, like the present day brides. Is there? What would have happened to Kalidas' play? If one gets married, it should be to a girl who is mature. Otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I'm not marrying now. Troupe means the group of performers or the actors. Bachelor means unmarried. Now next, Ranga mentions the love story of the king Dushyant with the beautiful lady Shakuntala from the Mahabharata epic. He says the king Dushyant would not have fallen in love with the beautiful Shakuntala if the girl would not have been so young. So they both have first tried to understand if they would have been mature once. So in that case, he says, no doubt there would not have been any existence of Kalidas play. But that was the mistake of marrying at the wrong age. That's why he says he wants to stay to be the bachelor till he finds the right girl to get married. Is there any other reason? A man should marry a girl he admires. What we have now are arranged marriages. How can one admire a girl with milk stains on one side of her face and wetness on the other, or so young that she doesn't even know how to bite her fingers? One a neem tree, the other a bitter gourd. Exactly, Ranga said, laughing. I was distressed that the boy, who I thought would make a good husband, had decided to remain a bachelor. After chatting for a little longer, Ranga left. I made up my mind right then that I would get him married. After listening to the boy, the narrator was clear about Ranga's views on the marriage. He was not in favor of the early marriage. And again, the narrator confirmed from him if there was another reason also of not getting married. To this, he replied that a person has to get married to the girl whom he would love and like. He was not in the favor of the arranged marriages prevalent in the society. He asks the narrator how one can fall in love and marry a girl who is so young that she cannot make herself the difference between her face. That there was on one side the milk stain and on the other there was the wetness, or she doesn't know still how to blush and bite her fingers. That means she is so small and cannot express her own feelings and emotions. That's why he wants to get married to a girl who is mature and of his own choice. After listening his views, the narrator got upset. He was disturbed to think what he was planning for this boy to get married and be the good husband, but he was going the other way. He wanted to remain unmarried. Thus, after talking a bit more, the boy left his house. But after his departure, then he again made up his mind. He would get Ranga married, and that also be very soon. Ramaru's niece, a pretty girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town, so she knew how to play the veena and the harmonium. She also had a sweet voice. Both her parents had died, and her uncle had brought her home. Ranga was just the boy for her, and she the most suitable bride for him. Now, here, in this point of the story, the narrator introduces a new character in the story with the name Ratna. This girl is 11 years old and is the niece of Ramarao, that is the friend of the narrator. She had lost both her parents, so her uncle had brought her from the big town. As she had lost both her parents, so her uncle brought her from the big town to his home with him. She had a great, lovely voice and know how to play harmonium and veena. As she had lost both her parents, so her uncle brought her from the big town to his own home. This girl had a lovely voice and know to play the musical instruments like harmonium and veena. Now, the narrator decided that he would get married this girl with Ranga, as he was thinking Ranga and Ratna would be a perfect pair. At this point of the story, the narrator introduces one more new character in the story with the name Ratna. The girl is just 11 years old and is Ramarao's niece. As you know, Ramarao is the narrator's friend. The girl had lost both her parents, so uncle Ramarao brought her from the big town to his own home. The girl had a sweet and melodious voice and know to play on the musical instruments like harmonium and veena. Thus, the narrator decided he would get married this suitable girl of the world with the most suitable boy of the village, and they are going to be the perfect match in this world. So he started now planning about their marriage. I hope you well understood up to this part. Must watch the next part in the coming video. Thank you for watching the video.